You guys, hmm, you guys are becoming an extremely rich source of content, conversation, and interesting responses and comments and questions. And so, what I'm going to do is devote the next little bit here to answering some of those questions. And I'd love for you to comment with regard to the comments, because then that will set up a whole new set of comments. So, and we can keep this going forever. This is Randy Kirk. Hit like, hit subscribe. I have now got a definite lineup coming up for you guys next week. So hit the notify. All that's going to be great. And then, of course, if you join Patreon, you get free audio books, one for each $5 per month. All right, let's get into it. Let's see what you guys are wondering about here. Let's start with the YouTube video that came out this morning where we talked about what the banks are doing and that the banks are going to be more restrictive and tougher, and it's going to be harder to get an auto loan, harder to get any kind of loan. And so one of you, this is James Brown dash O, like OO, and as in letter OO 8GZ says, okay, the First National Bank of Tesla, 3% auto loans for Tesla. Of course, maybe it'll be Twitter. Twitter is going to get into fintech, so maybe it'll be the loans that'll come out of Twitter that will manage this. Of course, we do know that Tesla has borrowed $1 billion, and they floated a bond issue where they will be doing some kind of auto loans. They're don't know exactly all the details of what they're already offering here and there, but they're offering them in some category, in some places already, like in the UK. Yeah, they're going to go where they feel like they need to go. They're going to go and offer either better deals, better leases, et cetera, et cetera. Don't know. Again, they have this capacity. It's all built into the system. They can do it starting now. Be interesting to see how they use it. All right, let's see here. The next one is, so they think that, let's see, this would be Hal 8683. He thinks that we should send Randy some cash and a bike and some food stamps because he's sleeping in his car like Warren. Oh no, he's not sleeping in his car like Warren yet, but and then the claim is that Randy is loaded. I'm going to leave this till last because I want to talk to you about whether Randy is loaded or not. No, I'm kidding. I want to talk to you about why Randy has to sell. He has to sell. There's a bunch of reasons why that takes place. So remind me at the end. We're going to talk about why I sell. It says, aren't you, see, this is Hal 86. Oh, this is Hal again. He says, aren't you hindsighting and stating the obvious with regard to the banks and the fact that they're so tight right now and they're not lending and blah, 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 and they're risk averse. And it's like, well, it wasn't me reporting. Okay. That was the Fed putting out this survey. And I thought, yes, of course, it's obvious, I guess, but it's good to hear from the bankers themselves. And also, the foresight thing is they're going to get even tighter in the months ahead. Let's see, it says here, by the way, I get a bunch of these people who put these stupid things up. I get rid of them just as fast as I can, where they claim to be loving my content. And then they have this back and forth with a bunch of fake replies. I get rid of them as fast as I can. I'm really sorry that those happen. There's nothing I can do. So then this is a little joke from, this is all from Hal. Hal's active today. He says, Randy says, you don't you don't need to have an interview with Elon because you are like Elon. Just a little joke. He says that was in response to user dash WE6SQ2IF7D. Okay. He says, is one of your goals to have an interview with Elon someday? I would love that. I believe I would ask different questions of Elon because I am an entrepreneur, because I'm a manufacturer, because I've started lots and lots of companies, because I've developed lots and lots of products. And I am like Elon in minuscule, little tiny Elon. Okay. So anyway, I don't consider myself to be even on the same planet with Elon. All right. So then in-house financing, we talked about that already. He says, you're right about legacy auto not catching up. This would be HR down 9464. You're right about legacy auto not catching up. I mean, they were told this would happen 50 years ago. What did they do? Not 50 years ago, I guess 15 years ago. Their answer can be found in the movie Who Killed the Electric Car? It says it all. They have zero sympathy for them. Yeah. So Ford is in trouble. GM is in trouble. Volkswagen is in trouble. Toyota is in big trouble. Mr. Ed 2291 says Ford's plans to emphasize hybrids brings into the question of the legacy auto transition to EVs. I believe not just August, but the whole third quarter. Oh, so that was one question. Yes, I'm beginning to give it a little more nervous about the legacy autos making the transition. Some of them will make it, even if it takes them until 2026 to get to 2 million a year or something like that, 2027 to get to 2 million a year. Tesla cannot make them all. Tesla and BYD together can't make them all. So there's going to be some folks that are going to make it, and I don't think it'll all be startups. Now, those companies might be a fraction of their size. Ford's at around 4 million units. They might be down to 2. General Motors is a little more than that. They might be down to 2 or 2.5. So they might survive at a much smaller level. We'll see what happens. Randy, this is LJ-JQ80G, a little O as in the letter OG. Randy, in my opinion, you are wrong saying that the OEMs are making good EV products. Boy, did you misunderstand me. No, what I said is that Elon would say to Ford and to General Motors and to Volkswagen, if you can't make a compelling product at a compelling price, you shouldn't be in business. They are not making a compelling product at a compelling price. Therefore, they should not be in business. That was my implication. I'm sorry if I didn't say it well enough. They are obviously not doing that yet. Our people would be beating down the doors to get their products. They wouldn't be, they would be just, able to charge whatever they want. It isn't happening. If that F-150 Lightning was any good, they would be upping their analysis for next year in terms of how many they're going to make. This is Bob Wallace, 9753. Hi, Bob. I'm very optimistic about EVs replacing ICs, ICE cars, but I see no way to get to 100% or even close by 2027. That's 3 to 4 years from now. How in the heck are they going to do that? Okay. So I've done a huge analysis. This is months and months ago. Maybe I need to update it. The idea would be that we need 60 million to be made by others. Maybe 50. Let's say 65 million might be enough to make the full transition and for nobody to make any ICE cars because there just wouldn't be any demand. If Tesla was making about 15 million of that would leave about 50 million. If BYD was also in at 15, that would leave about 35 million. You've got a few other players that might be around 3, like let's say Hyundai, Kia, maybe a couple of others that might be around 3. So you see what I'm saying? And now you've got General Motors, Ford, et cetera, that might be around 2. So some people will win, some people will lose, but I think they can be there because there's a whole bunch of people that'll be making 1 million, just like now. You'd be surprised how many of these big automakers are only making 1 million a year. I think Polestar and Volvo will be in that group. All right, so let's see. Let's say this is from Niels Solar. I work in the solar photovoltaic section. Photovoltaic. I can say that. Never mind. I'm not even going to try. I know how to say it, but I'm not going to do it now. Some of the leading PV installers in the area are very much liking new Tesla inverters. They note that they're very high performing and a reasonable cost, perhaps another Tesla accelerant. Well, that's very interesting. I need to look deeper into that. If anybody else has more comments or thoughts about that, please let me know. Randy, this is Wilbur Falk, 7593, says, Randy, thank you for including existing Patreons in your generous Audible book offer. How can I access, how to select? Again, you just let me know through Patreon. Let me know through Twitter. Let me know in the comments. But the best way is through Patreon. If you're a Patreon member, just send me a note through Patreon, say, this is the book I want, and it'll be off to you the same day or next day. I think Robin Joe 1 says, I think Musk is passively aggressively sabotaging the stock price so that when Tesla makes a profit, I'm misunderstanding this or reading it too fast. I think Musk is sabotaging the stock price because A, Tesla makes a profit, so doesn't need capital, and B, he doesn't need money to buy Twitter anymore, and 3, Tesla employees are getting rich because of their ability to use their stock options, and future stock upside helps recruiting. And then he left out, we retail investors can buy more and more and more and more. So those would be 5 good reasons. I don't disagree with you. I'm not sure I agree with you 100%, but Robin Joe 1, good comments, good thoughts. It says here that Dodge Ram inventories are piling up, rows and rows of unsold cars. Then Bob Wells comes back. Bob Wells, 9753, comes back and says apparently the same for Ford and GM large expensive units. Detroit may be reaching dealer saturation and will have to reduce production rates even on their ICE vehicles. Okay, interesting. We'll keep watching that. Let's see. So P38 Cobra says lots of emotional influence in life of the long-term investor in Tesla. Yeah, that's true. Lots of emotional influence. That's for sure. Should I sell? No, I'm not going to sell. Should I buy more? Of course I should buy more. Oh, anyway. Ford truck buyers are simply not buying EVs. EV sales are soft. They didn't. Bob Wallace again. Here we got Dular is the one who said that. Bob Wallace saying it's just not offering a compelling product. Dular says back. Sounds like an echo chamber. The real question is, does the truck buyer really want 500-mile range with minimal software, no big screens, no self-driving? They want a small, medium, full-size trucks, durable with plenty of power. So Bob Wallace comes back and says, in order to have big power for jobs like towing the truck, you need a large battery pack. Yeah, that's a very good point, Bob. And then Dular says, agreed, the Lightning motors have already been rated for over 1 million pounds towing. Ford needs to be building the right truck for the motors. Okay, let's see. A full page. Christopher Robbins 5463 says there was a front page article on Starlink in the New York Times the other day, and it was largely negative about Musk. Yeah, the New York Times is no friend of Musk. Most of these guys are not, because they don't get any advertising revenue from him. But by the way, I had an advertising agency for 3 years. I started and ran an advertising agency for 3 years. I also bought hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of advertising for my own companies over the years. And then I've also had over 400 clients as a marketing consultant where I bought additional hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of advertising and placed ads. I know a lot about advertising, and I can tell you the trade journals and all the journals, one way or the other, the editorial and the advertising departments are absolutely talking. Yes, it matters. Okay, I can promise you. I mean, I've had the conversations. Ken-MB5CP says the New York Times is a mouthpiece for the Democrats who despise Elon. Yeah, okay, so Dan Alaba says, with no mild recession in the U.S. and China trying to reset its economy, copper, crude, silver, and gold have already started a second leg run. This is true. These products are starting to move up again. I think that's going to be a big question, is whether those four commodities start to become an issue. Of course, gold doesn't have a lot of actual use cases, but gold has shot up over the last 5 days. Shot up. Copper is still not that big. Crude is shot up, is now 82. Silver is moving up strongly, and silver does have a lot of use cases. Anyway, I agree. I thought Elon said he expected a tough recession, but the Tesla would make it through, and by next April it should be over. Elon said a few different things at different times. Let me see if I can characterize it the best that I can remember it, and that is, we are going to have a tough year, and it'll be tough for cars. Be tough for cars primarily because of the issue with regard to financing. And the overall general economy. He was definitely believing there'll be a hard landing, and that next year, I think second quarter, maybe third quarter, we would see a good, strong recovery. None of that, of course, took place. A couple of you guys say, hey, shouldn't Elon stay in his lane? No, you look, predicting the economy. I'm an idiot. I don't know why I'm predicting the economy. I mean, yeah, I've been right for a couple of months, but I'm going to be wrong next. So the people that are on top of the hill one year predicting the economy tend to be on the bottom of the hill the next year, completely blowing it. So there's an art, there's a science, and then there's complete frustration because, okay, in War and Peace, the main issue in War and Peace is you can plan the war as much as you want to. You can plan, you can plot, you can do all the things to make sure that you win the war, that you win the battle. But when you actually get into the battle, when you're actually down there and bullets are flying and bombs are dropping, all the plans are out the window. You're down there trying to manage whatever's happening in your small little space. Anybody that forgets that's in business, or that plays the stock market, or that tries to predict the stock market or the economy, they haven't remembered something called some virus we had a couple of years ago. So let's see. Yeah, let's see. I'm looking to see if there's any more of this that's any good. By the way, you can tell what kind of things I answer. People that give me details. Um, let's see. Yeah, all right. I think that's about it. I think that okay, let's talk about Randy. Let's talk about Randy as the selling too much. All right, let's go over it very carefully. And maybe I'll refer people back to this all the time if they're complaining about how much time I spend on a YouTube video selling. Number one, I am a salesman. I am born to and bred to be a salesman. I've spent my entire life as a salesman. I have sold on 5 continents. I have sold every major mass merchandiser in the country, at least as of 10 years ago. Some of those people are gone. I have sold the U.S. Army, Navy. I mean, I can't be. I've gone to some. I've worked a trade show booth in something like 350 trade shows. I sold 400 people on becoming my businesses that would allow me to consult with them. That was since I turned 60. So I'm a salesman. I'm going to sell. If you don't like the fact that I'm going to sell, I'm sorry. I'm going to sell. Number two, this is a business. I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. I love the connections that I've been making with both the folks that I interview, the folks that are part of Patreon now that I'm getting into conversations with. This is great. I love all the energy, but it's a business. Okay, it is a business. If it doesn't make me enough money, I won't do it anymore. All right. It, by the way, is now making enough money to be satisfying, but it isn't making what I'm worth. What do you think I'm worth? You think I'm maybe worth $250,000 a year? Well, I was making that much 25 years ago. Okay, so I don't know what I'm worth today, but I know what the minimum is that I feel I should be making right now. We aren't there yet, but we're 2/3 of the way there. All right. So I'm going to be selling because if you want the content, it's got to pay for itself. Do you see do any of the other YouTubers ever sell? The number one guy the number one guy by a lot in the YouTube space for the Tesla community is Stephen Mark Ryan. He sells from the minute he starts to the minute he finishes. He's always selling. He beats me up as a salesman. Are you kidding me? And he even brags about the millions of dollars he's making on his YouTube and is on a Patreon. I'm not in his class. I'm not even close. So yes, I will continue to sell. That is how I make my living. That's not quite true. Am I rich? Not rich. I'm good. It's good. I'm retired. Well, no, I'm not retired. I get Social Security. We have a couple of rental homes. I have money in Tesla. I have money in Tesla Leaps. I have money in ARK K. Those are my only investments. Well, no, I'm sorry. Some of our pension money is in very solid conservative things. Okay, because I'm old. So there you go. There's a little personal analysis of where I am financially. If this YouTube channel goes away completely, we will not have any trouble paying our rent. But I love doing this channel and it should pay me what I'm worth. And if it doesn't pay me what I'm worth, then it must not be worth much. Okay. If it's valuable, then, right now, the way things work in this world is you either listen to ads, you pay YouTube $10 a month to not listen to ads, or you join Patreon and help out, or you buy merch. I don't do merch because I think merch is a lousy way to make money in this environment. I tried one time with the business of having a sponsor. That was way too complex. I think we can get there together between Patreon and YouTube advertising. We can get there. We're 2/3 after 7 months. We're 2/3 of the way to the number that would make me happy. I think we'll get there probably by October. So I will be selling at least until October. And even after October, I may not be able to not sell. So I don't know if any of that makes any sense. Let me know in the comments. Please please subscribe, hit notify. It helps the channel. All these things help the channel. Hitting like, hitting subscribe, hitting notify. It helps, especially if then you come back and back and back. That tells YouTube that the people who have notified and subscribed that they're coming back and watching more and more, and then they send it out to more people like you. That helps a ton. That's better. If you do that on a regular basis, it's better than joining Patreon. Anyway, so then join Patreon, you get a free book. Okay. That's all I got for you right now. And it has been great, as always, having this conversation with you.